Hey guys, so this section is all about teaching skills. Okay, so there's two things about any new thing that you're learning. One is the process, and two is how you execute according to that process. And if you've done the Tefl course already, or if you're going to be doing it, then you will have learned a lot of processes, systems, things that you can do. But there's one thing that you need in order to actually do it, and that is execution. You need to get good at teaching skills. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some teaching skills that you can apply and that you can get better at, and really the most important skills in teaching altogether. So let me see if I can change this slide. Okay, so this is a very, very famous picture. You may or you may not have seen it before, but it's a picture of a woman. And this is how we see, okay? Is it a young woman or is it an old woman? If you haven't seen this picture before, you may not know this, because some of you will see an old woman and some of you will see a young woman. And if you can't see the old woman, or if you can't see the young woman, you can only see one woman right now. Once you see the old woman, or once you see the opposite, whatever, you won't be able to see the young woman anymore. Right? So let me just show you in case you can't actually see. Okay, so I'll show you the young woman to begin with. This is the young woman's nose. This is the young woman's eyelashes. This is her chin here, and this is her necklace. Okay, so that's the young woman. That is the young woman right there. You probably can see her now. There's her ear. The old woman, this is her eye. This here is her nose, and this is her mouth. Okay, and this is like her hair or something, and that is like a hood. Okay, so but you cannot see the old woman and the young woman at the same time. The whole point of this is that when we see things, we only look in one dimension at one time. We can flip from the young woman to the old woman, but we can only see one of them at the exact same time. So how we see really makes a big difference. Now, there's a study done by a guy called Robert Wiseman in Edinburgh. He had something like 200 wallets, and him and his university students went around Edinburgh and dropped 200 wallets. Each wallet had a different picture inside. Okay, so there's 4 different pictures. One was of a dog, one was of a baby, one was of a family, and one was of an old couple. Okay, and then they had some money in it, and they waited to see how many wallets were returned. And lo and behold, the amount of wallets that were returned that had a little baby picture in it were 88%, dogs 53%, family 48%, and old people 28%. So one thing you can learn from this is if you lose your wallet, make sure it's got a little baby picture in there, because you're 88% more likely to get that wallet back with the money in it. And people love dogs more than they love families, basically. And people don't like old people. But no, the main thing about this is that basically how we see things changes our behavior. Okay, another one is about this family on a subway. There was this guy who arrived on the subway. This is from Stephen R. Covey. He talks about paradigms and how we see things. And this guy got on the subway, and all his kids were going absolutely crazy, fighting with each other, jumping around, making an absolute ruckus. And Stephen R. Covey was like getting a little bit agitated, and eventually he turned to the guy and he was like, "Can you not just like look after your kids? They're causing a real problem right now." And then he sort of looked up, because he was kind of in a bit of a daze, and he was like, "Oh yeah, well, they just lost their mother, and I guess they don't know how to handle it, and I don't either." And so that instantly he felt this compassion for the guy, whereas all the irritation was gone, and he felt much more compassionate towards him. So another thing to learn from that is that we don't know what people are going through, so we shouldn't judge them. But again, how we see things changes our behavior. It changes how we feel about things. So what I'm going to share with you are the 3 teaching skills, the 3 number 1, number 2, number 3 skills in teaching. You will have already learned a little bit about these skills through the Tefl course, but I'm going to go a little bit into a lot more deeply and emphasize about how important each of these skills are.